Okay, this video is about some light terminology. So this shouldn't be too long, so let's get started. So transparent. The definition of something that is transparent is that it lets pretty much all light through. So something like a clear window, or something like the lens of your eye, or even the lens of your glasses or contacts. Something that lets all of the light pass through. That's what transparent means. So does transparent mean we're only talking about visible? Well, actually, it doesn't have to. So transparent may refer to things that aren't even visible to the human eye. So let me write in something right here. Just 1 second. Okay, I'm back. So if something is transparent to light, we don't necessarily have to be talking about visible light. So what do I mean by that? Let's see. We could be talking about something like X-rays. So instead of visible light, we could be talking about X-rays. And so X-rays are just a different type of light. So let's look at an X-ray. How about this? So what happened here was some light rays, very short wavelength light rays, we call them X-rays, were shot through this dog. And to be honest, I don't know if this is a real X-ray or if somebody drew this, but what you can see is that in an area like this right here, you can see through the dog. But in areas like this, or where the bones are, or where these keys are, you can't see through the dog. So that tells us that these bones are not transparent. Oops, transparent to X-rays. But we can see that these soft tissues, like the muscles are transparent to X-rays. So transparent doesn't necessarily have to be talking about just visible light. It can be talking about other types of light. Okay, next term I want to talk about is translucent. And if the definition of transparent was lets all light through, the definition of translucent is lets some light through. Now, if you snoop around the internet, you'll find sites that say transparent lets an image form, and something that's translucent doesn't. But I think I would argue with this. I think what I would rather say is that there's kind of a continuum between 100% translucent and 100% transparent, so that you can kind of be in kind of an in-between area, in between transparent and translucent. So if something is completely transparent, then yes, it lets all the light through. And if something is translucent, it lets some of the light through, but you may or may not be able to see an image. So let me do this. Let me show you. I just Googled translucent, and this came up. So like this green water bottle, it lets some of the light through. If you're green light, you get to go through. So you could still see an image through that. It just wouldn't contain all the light. Or how about like this beach ball? Depending on what part of the beach ball you're looking through, you can see some of the light that gets through, but not all of it. So that's how I'm going to do translucent. It lets some of the light through. So an example of something that's translucent would be something like a colored filter, or something of that nature. And the next word I want to do is opaque. And opaque is the other end of this whole spectrum here. If transparent lets all the light through, something that's opaque lets no light through. So if something is opaque, none of the light gets through. So something that you can't see through, like a person. So you can't see through a person, so a person is opaque. And so is a wooden door or a wall. Like in this X-ray of this dog here, the collar right here is opaque because no X-rays got through it, and these bones were opaque because the X-rays can't go through the bones. So, or especially the keys here, the keys are opaque to X-rays because the X-rays can't go through. So opaque means it doesn't let any of the waves through. Okay, so now getting down to these bottom three terms. These should go pretty fast. If something is luminous, that means it is emitting light. And if you don't like the word emitting, how about this? If something is luminous, it is giving off light. So something that is luminous would be like a candle. A candle flame is giving off light, so it is luminous. Or maybe the sun. The sun is luminous because it's giving off light. Next term, reflective. If something is reflective, it doesn't make its own light, but rather light bounces off of it. So reflective, I'm going to say light bounces off of it. I'm just going to write light bounces off. So something that is reflective. Well, right here, a person. A person is reflective. You can see a person when light rays come in and hit the person, and then they bounce off. So that's how you can see the person. The person is not luminous. The person doesn't give off its own light. It doesn't make its own light and release it. A person is reflective. We can see people because light bounces off of people. And then last term I wanted to do was scattering. Scattering is kind of a subcategory under reflective. Scattering is what happens when light bounces off in lots of directions. So an example of that would be maybe I just Googled scattering, and one thing that came up was this. So sunlight comes in, hits a cloud, and the light gets scattered off in all directions. So that's a good example of scattering. So scattering is when light rays come into something and they get bounced all over the place. So if you were trying to look at something that was doing scattering, you would not be able to see a good image. It would probably be a very fuzzy image. Okay, so I guess that's it. 7.5 minutes. Those are 6 light terms.